My name is Greg Bogosian, and I love everything about New England. Each week, I travel the region searching for adventure. And along the way, I visit the places and the people that make New England extraordinary. This is New England like you've never seen it before. This is New England Traveler. When I travel anywhere in New England, I always ask myself three simple questions. Where am I staying? This one-stop resort has it all. Where am I eating?
Absolutely incredible.
And what am I doing?
I feel like I'm on the Titanic.
In this episode, I'm staying at Woodstock Inn and Brewery.
Wow, cool.
I'm eating at their brew pub. And I'm traveling to the summit of Mount Washington aboard the Mount Washington Cog Railway.
Hold up here.
Welcome to part 2 of my White Mountains adventure. One of the things I love about living in New England is getting to explore historic places. In part 1, I met with Rob Airy at the Mount Washington Cog Railway, and we took a trip to the summit on a biodiesel.
We're now approaching Jacob's Ladder. Jacob's Ladder, the steepest part of the Mount Washington Cog Railways. How many trains go up and down at any given time at the same time?
So we run pretty much on the hour. So basically, there could be up to 4 trains heading up at one time and 4 trains coming down. That's how we make the schedule work.
Now I'm heading back to the Cog to meet Ryan Presby, whose family owns this iconic New England attraction.
So tell me about the story behind the Cog Railway.
It all started with Sylvester Marsh. He hiked to the summit of Mount Washington in the 1850s and got lost in a terrible storm and barely made it to the summit with his life. He decided that's no way to get to the top. People want to get up there to see the views and experience the weather. He's going to build a railway to get there. Upon its completion in 1869, within a couple of weeks, one of the first guests to come ride up the railway was actually President Ulysses S. Grant.
Came a long way here to the Cog Railway for an epic experience, and I think that's what's in store for me today, right?
You picked a great day to come up today. The views are over 90 miles.
Wow.
You're going to see into Maine, the ocean on the other side of Maine, into Canada, Massachusetts, Vermont.
And New Hampshire too, right?
Yes, New Hampshire as well.
We're in New Hampshire.
This is what a classic train ride is going to be. You've got the steam, you've got the smells of burning of the coal, you've got the clickety-clack as it goes up the tracks. And you can hear that steam go in and out of the cylinders, and it just adds to that overall experience with the sights and the sounds and the coal cinders. And it's just your classic steam locomotive.
One thing that makes it a classic is its age. This steam locomotive was built in 1875, just 10 years after the end of the Civil War.
And this locomotive itself is pretty old. I mean, 1875, it's no spring chicken, and people come from all over the world just to see these interesting machines.
The Presbys take great pride in the Cog Railway and its significance as a unique piece of New England history. And it's people like engineer Andy who keep the operation running smoothly and safely.
So Andy, tell me about the job of an engineer.
So engineer will come in the morning and be assigned a train for the day. They'll inspect that train, make sure everything's in good working order, has the tools it needs, and then bring it up to the gate and assist the brakeman in loading. Then once you're on the mountain, you're actually operating the unit, running the locomotive, paying attention to your temperatures and your pressures, and maintaining your speed at different portions of the track, and then working with the brakeman where he'll signal you to let you know if you have clearance in certain areas, as they are the eyes of the train going up.
Right, I imagine a foggy day is like sometimes zero visibility, right?
Yeah, sometimes you can't see the front of the train, and you may have to trust radio communication with your brakeman, and you actually have to put a lot of trust in them because visibility can get quite limited on those soupy days, which we have a fair number of, especially above tree line.
And if the weather doesn't sometimes make this operation complicated enough, the steam locomotive presents its own set of challenges for the crew.
The steam locomotive, you have to be very in tune with that piece of machinery to listen and to watch and to actually be receptive to what it may be trying to tell you.
The steam engine is a complex, living, breathing thing that requires a 2-man crew in the engine in addition to the brake person. All I can think of now is taking a ride on this piece of New England history.
I like to say that we're adults that never stop playing with trains. I grew up as a train enthusiast, train nut, for lack of a better word, and here I am today working with them day in and day out. It kind of marries my two passions, railroading and the outdoors.
Apparently one of the signature dishes here at Woodstock Inn Brewery Up there it is, New England Traveler, episode Saturday 9. There it is.
As caretakers of the Cog, the Presbys are stewards of New England history. When you plan your own White Mountains adventure, you have a lot of options of places to stay. My lodging of choice tonight is Woodstock Inn Brewery. Molly Norby and her family have built a business on great craft beer, comfort food, and luxurious lodging in a New England mountain setting.
So in 1982, my parents bought just like a small little house. It was just a 6-bedroom doctor's office right on Main Street. You know, as the years have gone on, we've just added more and more and more to where we are today. Now we have a 37-barrel brewery. One thing that really sets us apart, I think, is we are a brewery, but we are also an inn and a restaurant. We really want you to be able to have like an amazing time, you know, just to be able to enjoy yourself.
Complementing Woodstock Inn Brewery's craft beer is a menu filled with choices to satisfy any palate. I travel all over New England making this show, and I've had some pretty amazing seafood dishes in my travels. Incredible sushi, fresh caught lobster, delicious seared tuna. But scallops are one of those dishes that for whatever reason, I rarely order. And when I do, I gotta be honest, they're usually fried. So I'm excited to try the sesame maple scallops here at Woodstock Inn Brewery.
Hey guys, I'm Chef Mark here at the Woodstock Inn and Brewery station, and I'm going to be cooking a sesame maple scallop for you guys today. I'm breading my scallops with all-purpose flour. Starting with a little bit of sesame oil. Got some garlic butter going in, guys. Got some bacon, add a little bit of flavor in there. Add some asparagus at the last timing, just so it stays a little bit crunchy. And last touch, guys, is some maple syrup. Of course, it goes with a lot of our favorite beers that we brew right here in Lincoln, New Hampshire. Can't forget the sesame for Woodstock Brewery, sesame maple scallops.
The first thing I'm going to do is obviously get that scallop and dip it in the maple. Scallops are a sweet seafood, but it plays very nicely off the maple syrup in this dish and the bacon. It's really sweet and savory at the same time. I have to say that one of my favorite parts of this dish is actually the fact that Chef Mark put some extra sesame on top, which gives it a nice kind of crunch to it. And of course, there's also the linguine pasta on the bottom. You can't go wrong with that. And if you really want to go crazy, just get a little bit of the bacon by itself, just like that. All right, that is to die for. Woodstock Inn Brewery, sesame maple scallops, pasta, the sesame, the maple, the scallops, the asparagus, and my favorite part really of the whole dish, other than the scallops, really the bacon. Check it out.
When I first heard I'd be eating sesame maple scallops, my thoughts immediately turned to fall in New England. But this dish is definitely one that's light enough to be ordered year-round. It's summer in New England, and I can't think of a better way to enjoy the season than a delicious summer cocktail.
Hi guys, I am Steven with the Woodstock Inn and Brewery in Woodstock, New Hampshire, and we are going to make my favorite drink, the Voodoo Martini. First, we're going to start with Grey Goose liquor. We're going to give equal parts of this drink, so Grey Goose. Next, we're going to go with Hypnotic liqueur. Again, equal parts, or to taste, whatever you prefer. We're going to give it a quick shake before we add our final ingredient. Pour it back in, careful not to spill. And pineapple juice to top things off. All right. We're gonna place our little on the top and give it a pour. Voodoo Martini.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, for the first time on television at Woodstock Inn Brewery, the Voodoo Martini. It's sweet and fruity. I don't know, there's like a hint of coconut. There's pineapple juice in it, obviously, which gives it that nice yellow, greenish, aqua color. The Voodoo Martini. Cheers. We're gonna head into the gift shop area where the museum is. and we'll go check that out. Pretty cool experience here at the summit.
The Mount Washington Cog Railway has a lot to offer everyone, from the casual tourist to the history enthusiast. You could do like I did and enjoy a sunny summer day trip aboard the environmentally friendly biodiesel all the way to the summit of Mount Washington.
What is this building over here with
So
all
that's
this?
the Tip Top House. That's the original building that was built up here, and it's pretty much the only one that's ever lasted.
Where you can explore the Summit Museum,
Washington Summit right there. There's a cool snowcat simulator here, some wildlife.
and experience sweeping views all the way to Canada.
Canada is out over here, right? I think so. We think so. We're kind of guessing. That's Canada, folks.
When you return to Base Station, you will definitely want to check out the Base Station Museum.
Yeah, I mean, there's everything from an original steam you can get cut out so you can see how the steam engine works, to the Cog Railway on how the cog works.
Where you can learn to drive a train yourself.
This is actually how you do it. You go left and right to drive the trains. Oh, you're going off tracks. Greg.
Oh, well, that's not good.
Now you broke it.
I broke the train.
He is no longer allowed to ride.
Okay, I'm pretty sure that the Mount Washington Cog Railway can withstand my attempts at being an engineer. But some of you may be wondering, what exactly is a cog railway? A cog railway is defined as a railroad with a toothed central rail between the bearing rails that engages with a cog wheel under the locomotive, providing traction for ascending very steep slopes, like those found on the trip to the summit of Mount Washington. Now it's time to learn more about this massive operation.
So what exactly is this facility here and this steam engine?
Well, so right here, this is the original shop from the 1800s.
Wow.
Obviously with the steam engine from the early 1900s. And then over here is our brand new 35,000 square foot shop where we'll be able to do all maintenance, everything here on the site. So this is our coach shop. This is where we maintain and build brand new coaches.
So this is one of the brand new coaches.
This is a brand new coach. It has a lot of new technology. It has air ride suspension so that it's a nice smooth ride the rest of the way up the mountain, where a lot like what we rode on today did not have that.
Nice.
So Greg, this place might look like there's a lot going on,
It does.
but we've really moved a lot of it to our brand new shop. So it's actually starting to get kind of empty.
Oh, wow. This is where they would bring in the trains in and service them underneath, the steam trains?
Yeah, and all those biodiesels were built in this shop.
Really?
Yep. So you'll see how tight it was. We can walk up here and you can see a little bit of the base. But then when you go in the big shop, you're going to be blown away by the amount of space we have.
You know, this is really, really cool to me personally. I think I told you, I'm a huge fan of Walt Disney and the Disneyland Railroad and things like that, and anything that has to do with Disneyland in particular. And there are some videos I've seen on YouTube behind the scenes at the engine house at Disneyland, where they bring the trains in at the end of the night and they work on them, and the next morning they go out again. So this is kind of like that same vibe, but at the Mount Washington Cog Railway. I think that's kind of cool, really.
It is. Like I said, there's so much history in this room if the walls could talk.
Wow. Yeah, that's amazing. This is look at them. This is you see the cog in the trail. This is like you're not going to see this in Boston at the yard where they keep the trains from North Station. I mean, this is a unique situation we have here.
Sure is, yeah.
Pretty cool. Yeah. So this is really cool. What is this out here?
So this is the transfer table where the engines will jump on this little track right here, and it'll move it down and into one of the bays. Same with the coaches coming out of the coach shop.
So the whole track just slides over and slides back?
Yeah, it'll sit right on this track and then go right up and over.
Wow, that'd be kind of interesting to see.
It is pretty neat. And that's also how they'll change from one track to the other. You see up there too.
That's awesome. Wow, look at this. This is pretty cool. This facility is
Isn't this awesome?
massive. It's massive. Now, I mean, eventually, would this be where you would store all the trains?
All the trains will be in here, yep.
Eventually.
So for wintertime for Marshfield, we'll actually have the snowblower lined up. Actually, you want to see a snowblower?
Yeah.
You want to see a real snowblower?
Yeah, all right, let's go see a snowblower.
Loads right on the front of one of the engines. Hydraulics all line right up, and we can go up in the morning, clear the tracks for our Wambeck trips.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Up here in the front, a lot of people like to come up to the front.
Man, I tell you, it's a good time. I encourage you to do so.
Just try to make it brief. You know, there's always that one guy who wants to spend the entire trip up the mountain like this.
The Mount Washington Cog Railway was built by Sylvester Marsh, who came up with the idea while climbing the mountain in 1852. When he approached the state legislature for permits to build the railroad, his plan seemed so unlikely that he was not just given permission to build a railway to the summit of Mount Washington, but also to the moon. Marsh used $5,000 of his own money to begin in the spring of 1866, and construction was done by many veterans who were returning from the Civil War. The first paying customers started riding on August 14, 1868, and construction reached the summit in July 1869. In August 1869, President Ulysses S. Grant visited New England and rode the Cog Railway to the top of Mount Washington. Now, I came here for the history, so I will definitely be riding the steam engine back to the summit.
I'm sure the summit is going to be cold, so this will not cut it. Definitely going to have to bundle up a little bit, but it's an adventure. So, here we go.
Riding the steam engine is a completely different experience than the biodiesel. The destination may be the same, but the steam engine transports you back in time with the smell of smoke from the coal and the ashes falling from the sky.
Oh, it's cold up here.
With the cold weather today, this is nothing like the last time I was here.
Wow, it really is getting cold now. The short sleeve is not cutting it.
Is this New England Traveler or Southern New England Traveler?
I don't know, I think it's going to turn it into the Southwestern Traveler.
Now that the crew has the steam engine ready to go, we are all set to head up the mountain.
All right, folks, get ready.
May want to stay seated. I just told our engineer we're all set. He's going to crack some steam. There's going to be a smooth burst of acceleration. Beautiful day for open windows, folks.
Brakeman Eli here. I'm going to be watching the tracks in front, and we're on the old 1908 MW9 today, coal-fired steam locomotive. Steamers have been running here for over 150 years since the beginning of the railroad, 1869. And they've changed a bit over the years from wood-fired to coal-fired. It's a good time.
You know, as this gear's driving over that rack, those teeth are climbing right into that thing, giving it the grip it needs to climb up these steep mountains.
Are literally in the clouds. It is getting chilly and windy.
And just like that, we've arrived at our destination. It was a nice long trek up the tracks, and there is always something so magical at the top of Mount Washington. Even if it's
Windy, cloudy, chilly, wet.
after a cold and windy trip aboard the Cog, I think I need a little warm-up. And there's no better place but to go back to the Woodstock Inn Brewery for one of my new favorite cocktails.
I'm Steven with the Woodstock Inn, and today we are making one of our guest favorites, the Springtime Stoli. We're gonna start with raspberry Stoli. You can pour your favorite amount or to taste good. Next, we're gonna go with equal parts on this. You're gonna do cranberry juice, and you're going to do pomegranate juice next. All right, before we put our soda water in, we're gonna hit it with a quick shake, just to get your ingredients moving. Garnish with a lime. And that's your Springtime Stoli.
Here at Woodstock Inn Brewery, there are a lot of cool places to grab a drink. I highly recommend stopping in, checking out one of these cool little pub spaces. This has become one of my favorites. Make sure you find this corner of this old school, warm New England style pub. Order yourself a Springtime Stoli and let the fun begin.
Now that Steven has made me one of their most popular drinks, I just had to have him make me one of my favorite drinks.
we are making a New England traveler summertime favorite. It's our Grey Goose Peach Spritzer. We're gonna start off with Grey Goose essence. You can pour that to your liking. That's good for me. We're gonna top it off with Pinot Grigio, any brand you choose. Don't forget to hit it next with your peach puree. We're gonna give that a quick shake. And of course, don't forget to hit it with your fresh favorite fruit.
If it's the right time of year, summertime, maybe you want to order the Grey Goose Peach Sangria Spritzer. And honestly, I can't even believe that I remember how to say that, but I did. So cheers to that.
In this episode, I returned to the White Mountains, where the Woodstock Inn Brewery served as the base camp for my adventure. I traveled to the Mount Washington Cog Railway, where I met Ryan Presby, whose family owns and operates one of the most iconic attractions in New England. Engineer Andy talked about what it takes to run the railway safely and efficiently. Later, Rob Airy took me on a behind-the-scenes tour, where I got a sneak peek into the Cog's future and a glimpse into its storied past. I wrapped up my trip heading back to the summit of Mount Washington aboard the historic steam engine. I hope you enjoyed part 2 of my White Mountains adventure. I'm Greg Bogosian. I'll see you next time on New England Traveler.